what should you do if your partner is going through depression, especially if he has an avoidant attachment style? This is the topic of today's video. I know it's very hard to navigate this space. You want to help, but that person is withdrawing. What should you do? What should be your role? How to navigate that space? This is what we will cover in this video.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So as you know, avoidant attachment style, they love independence. And when there's something wrong with them, they would prefer to handle it themselves. And so the thing is, when an avoidant will go through depression, that will increase that sense of isolation. So understand that avoidants, they were brought up with this idea of when you have a problem, you have to deal it with yourself. And when you're going through depression, anxious, insecure people, we want to talk about that. We want to express their feelings. We want to have someone to talk to. Whereas like avoidant, they will feel like, I can't talk. I don't want to talk, because going through depression is a little bit like I'm weak, right? And I don't want to let people see my failure, see my shortcomings. And so you have to understand that, of course, that will affect the relationship, because as a partner, even if you're not together anymore, it's important to assess how you can make it change, how you can improve the dynamic of the relationship. And so the impact on you, obviously, is to be confused, lonely, rejected. You want to help, but they're pushing back. You're thinking like, I'm here for them, right? We are together. I love you. I want to help you. But they are pushing back, and you feel like, who am I to them? Why are they doing that to me? I don't deserve to be treated this way. And this feeling of rejection, and sometimes people would break up because they're depressed, because they don't feel great, and they feel that their partner are smothering them, and it's difficult to handle both, and they have to go through that journey of working on their depression, and they break up with their partner. And so again, it's the double effect of they're going through depression, they're breaking up with me. I've done nothing wrong, right? I'm just here to help them. I'm just here to be with them, on their side, and they push me back. They reject me. They're breaking up with me. So what should you do if that happens? How to reverse the dynamic? So first of all, there's an element of self-esteem. Avoidant, they link their self-esteem to their independence. I'm strong. I can do things on my own. Being depressed is very hard. It's impossible to overcome depression on your own. And so when they realize that they're going through this phase, it's very hard for them to seek help. It's also very hard for them to realize that this idea of being independent is actually creating more problem and will prevent them from actually overcoming this depression. Right? So it's important that there's a clash, and they need to go through that phase of the self-esteem. The image I'm making of myself is actually preventing me from dealing with this depression. So also understand that avoidance, as I discussed, they don't want help. It's very hard to accept when you're a partner, when you love them, when you want to be their support system. They don't want help, because they see vulnerability as a weakness, right? I don't want you to see me like this. So something that you could hear, I don't want you to see me like this. Because in their mind, if you see me like this, I'm here and you're here. And I don't accept any form of subordination or any form of this idea that you're superior than me. And it's not about they have bad feelings for you, they don't love you, they don't respect you. It's just that, again, seeing themselves here while you're here. And being here is not because you are having a posture, you're judging. They are creating this, I don't want to be in that dynamic. And they're going to push back. They're going to reject this dynamic. So what should you do is, first of all, to take care of yourself first. So initially what we want to do is, my partner is going through depression. I'm here to help him or help her. The question is like, no, really respect boundaries, respect, prioritize your emotional well-being. And rather than acting as their therapist, suggest that they see someone, right? And if you are distressed, if you don't know, if you're confused, see a therapist yourself. It's also about communicating effectively, openly. It's not about confronting. What you have to create is a safe space for them to open up. So rather than asking the question and answering the questions, which a lot of people are guilty of, it's really about creating that space, right? I'm here if you need me. I'm around. I'm not going to ask you what you're doing. I'm not going to check on you. Sometimes you want to, and I think it comes from a good place. I'm not saying, you're wrong doing that. It's about understanding that when you are trying to be proactive, taking decisions for them, they will feel smothered. They will push back, right? So you just need to be a support, not their therapist. Being the partner and being a therapist doesn't work. And especially if that person is avoidant, there's first an element of them understanding their emotion. Right? There's a big work when we work with avoidant on how to help them recognize their emotions, how to be attuned with their emotions. That's the first thing. And then we work through depression. So it's important if you have discussion about emotion, of course they're going to push back. They're like, I don't want to talk about that. Leave me alone. Right? So be there for them, and rather than feeling rejected, and that's why I'm making this video, they don't reject you. They reject the situation. They reject this sort of idea that they're sort of, in a way, the story they're telling themselves about, I can't seek help. It takes a bit of time, but it's also important for them and for you to realize that you need to establish a set of strict boundaries. You shouldn't cross the line. You shouldn't be their therapist. You're here to support them. So in conclusion, it's really about obviously passions and understanding how avoidance functions. Sometimes we feel like, they don't love me, they refuse my help. No, it's not about that. So it's important to develop what I call pragmatic empathy, understanding their point of view, understanding where they're coming from. Learn how to communicate openly, find a therapist for yourself or for them. What you have to understand, that's the positive side. If you overcome this, your relationship will be stronger than ever, right? Because you test relationship not looking at the highs of the relationship, but how you manage the lows. It's very important. And we all have, not necessarily depression as a sort of depression in a clinical term, but there will be times in our life where we feel down because we lose a job, we lose a parent, we lose something, we have difficulty dealing with the kids leaving home. This is a real test for your relationship. And that will determine whether you'll be together for the next 20 years. And I think your relationship will be twice as stronger than it was before if you guys manage to overcome this. So it's not a question of you being the helper, being the saver, it's about you being the support system around them, understanding them, and letting them do the work. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you next time. Bye.